Hi, this is Tina Sibley and a very big welcome to the pre-video for the Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Wicked Webinars. Now, you will notice that I have said that this webinar is going to be very, very different. And thank you so much for registering. I guarantee you this webinar is going to be different from any webinar you've ever been to before. And I am going to make sure that you get the absolute best out of it, because I'm passionate about you running your own webinars and starting to take leaps forward in your business. And the very first thing that is different is this pre-webinar video. Now, if you're anything like me, you hate all of this hot air and fluff, and that's certainly something that I'm not intending to do. My webinar is going to be jam-packed full of content. But the thing is, you do need to position the context of the webinar. So this is why a lot of webinars at the beginning tell you all the reasons that you need to be listening to the webinar, and also you do need to know a little bit about the person who's running the webinar, so that you know that they're a credible authority on it. But the big problem is sometimes it's like that takes half an hour, and you're half an hour into the webinar before any of the content begins. Not so with the webinar that I'm going to be delivering. You're going to get all of that stuff that you need to know right now, that you can listen to in your own time before the webinar actually begins. So, without any further ado, I'm going to be telling you why you really need to listen to the webinar and actually be on it in the first place. Okay, because I'm going to be teaching you how to put together webinars that work and sell. And webinars that are different, from what everybody else is running. Because it does depend on your market. I want you to be thinking about what kind of webinars are going to work for your audience, and webinars that are not full of hot air, and more importantly, that sell but without being hypey and pushy, and the kind of sales that make you want to reach for your vomit bucket. Right, that is not me. It's not what I'm going to do myself, and it's not what I'm going to teach you to do. I am going to teach you to host webinars that are great value, that will help you connect with your audience, and that will help you to sell, but without using the hype and without using the pushy techniques and all the rest of it. Okay, so what I am going to be covering then on the webinar. Well, first of all, there are 12 compelling reasons why you need webinars. Webinars are just so important, and I'm going to be telling you why you need to be doing that. I'm going to be showing you that it's actually as easy as ABC. A lot of people procrastinate and put off doing webinars because they think it's difficult. It doesn't have to be difficult, and I'm going to show you how it can be as easy as ABC. Again, one of the big things is getting people on the webinar, so I'm going to give you 15 different traffic tactics to fill your webinars. I'm going to be giving you 5 webinar platform reviews. Now, the reason for this is because it's a real pet hate of mine. It's something that I'm fed up hearing about, is a lot of webinar trainers out there will only teach you how to use GoToWebinar. Now, it may not be lost on you that I'm actually using GoToWebinar for this particular webinar. And the reason for that is quite simply that I'm changing my autoresponder for the super clever Infusionsoft from Aweber. And right now, there is nobody who can teach me to use Infusionsoft with any other platform other than GoToWebinar. But trust me, once I've figured it out, I will be not using GoToWebinar. I'm not saying I won't ever use them, because there will maybe some occasions when I want to, but I'm certainly not going to get locked into a big long, kind of monthly lock-in, and you don't need to either. So I'm going to be showing you how you can run webinars using different platforms. I'm going to be going through some mistakes that make you look amateur and how you can avoid those. I'm going to be giving you the #1 key insight to wicked webinars that sell, and again, without using the hype, without using. I'm going to actually explain to you why people use the hype and why some of it is useful, but it all depends how it's positioned, you know. So yes. Incentives to get people to act are important, and yes, those are the kind of things that I also use, but I'm going to be telling you the reasons and how to position it in a way that's softer, because a lot of you want to connect with your audience. You don't want to turn them off, so I'm going to give you that #1 key insight to do it without being pushy and salesy, and that you can stay authentic. I'm going to give you 5 different ways to keep your audience with you during the course of the webinar. You don't have to use all 5 ways in one webinar, but there are different choices. I don't use all of them, all of the time, but there are some of them that I do use frequently. And I'm going to be sharing those with you. I'm going to give you 6 killer strategies to use so that you can monetize your webinars. And there are different ways of, doing that. And this is what's great. There's loads of choice available to you on how to actually use your webinars in the first place. I'm going to show you how I can help you with your webinars and, wider speaking further. But here's my promise to you. I will tell you, should you want to, how you can get extra help from me, but I promise this will not take any longer than 5 minutes. The rest of the webinar will be just totally 100% jam-packed content that you can take away and use on your own. I know that a lot of people are going to, really appreciate and benefit from a bit of extra support, and I'll just spend 5 minutes telling you how you can, get that extra support and what I'm going to be offering. And I'm not going to make it hard sell. I'll just be telling you, right, this is what's available, and if you take it, fantastic, and if you don't, that's okay too. I'm going to then answer questions, so if you've got any questions, bring them to the webinar with you, and then at the end I'm going to give you a template guide where where all the hard work about how am I going to put my webinar together, I'm going to give you that template guide. Alright, so this webinar is going to cover an awful lot of stuff, but I promise you it is going to be different to the webinars that you have probably experienced to date. Alrighty, now, why should you run webinars in the first place? Well, first of all, do you want to make a difference? Presumably you're in business because you want to serve an audience. You want to help people. There's a whole load of people out there who would be able to take leaps forward with your help, and a lot of the people who I work with are coaches, consultants, trainers, speakers, authors, and one of the driving factors for their choice of business is that they have a burning desire to make a difference and to help people. But the thing is, you can't make a difference if people don't know you exist, if they don't know what your products are, if they don't know how good you are. And webinars are going to really help you to show how you can make a difference. Also, people generally, it's really important that you increase your income, because you can't be self-employed and you can't be helping people on thin air. You've got to put food on the table. Now, you may want to earn $1 million a year or £1 million a year. Fantastic. That might not be the thing that drives you, However, you've still got to make a living. So you've still got to be able to, pay for the things that you want for your business. You've got to put food on the table. You've got to be able to take time out to have with your family, enjoy holidays, Christmas and all that kind of stuff. So it really is important to be getting that balance between making a difference and giving to people, but also making sure that you're okay too. And certainly in the coaching industry, it's important to walk your talk. So you really need to be able to demonstrate to others how, by doing the kind of things that you do, this is going to be the results. So you might find right now that you perhaps don't have enough clients. This is one of the big tough things. You get trained as a coach, consultant, or web designer or whatever it is that you do, and you've probably got amazing skills. You're probably really, really good at what you do. However, just being good at what you do doesn't automatically give you enough clients. So it's crucial that you know how to get those clients. And again, webinars is one of the most fantastic ways of getting clients on board. It might well be that you're just starting out online and you don't have a big list. It might well be that you've got only a few people on your list. It might be that you have no people on your list and that you're just starting out. Again, webinars for me have been the thing that has helped me to grow my list. And when I first started and did my very first webinar, I had 0 people on my list. And by running that first webinar, I actually got some people, which was rather cool. So I'm going to be showing you all about how that can happen too. Again, I've already talked about the income. Maybe one of the reasons that you're learning about how to do webinars and all this kind of stuff is that you do need to increase your income. And again, coming back to the fact that you don't feel that you're making the difference that you want to be. And that quite simply then means that you're not being a role model and you're not walking your talk. So if any of those kind of ring true, then you absolutely must attend this webinar. Attend it live. I would really strongly recommend attending it live because then you can ask questions. And I don't know, there's just something about the kind of appointment of a live webinar which seems to work better than the replay. Yes, you will get the replay, but there's just something about the community spirit and kind of being live on there with other people as well. I'm guessing that what you want instead is, a massive subscriber list. You'd like to have plentiful clients without having to chase them down and, sort of badger them to death. That you do want to get out there and make a difference. You do want to have that income for the lifestyle, not only that you dream of, but that you deserve. The thing is, the kind of people that I work with are good people. We have a desire to help others. We're good at heart and we deserve to have that lifestyle. That we've, number one, spent an awful lot of money on our training and, we've spent a lot of hours studying. We have a real desire to help people. Why shouldn't we also, reap some rewards for all of that, hard work and effort that we've put in, and the good karma? We're very giving. We give a lot, and do you know what? It's like that L'Oreal advert on TV. You deserve it. You deserve to have that dream life. Because you're worth it. And then, of course, you inspire others. You become a role model and you inspire others, and that attracts in it, and then it becomes that lovely virtuous circle where things really start going in the right direction. So again, if this relates to you, and if you can really kind of relate to any of this, then you definitely need to be on this webinar and show up in person. Okay, so in order to get from A to B, then, so instead of wallowing in the treacle to being a superstar, you need the ability to speak to groups of people, and in this particular instance through webinars. Alrighty, so when should you do this? Well, it depends on how long you want to take to go from wallowing in the treacle to becoming a superstar. And this is why I really want to inspire you to attend live and then put into action what you're going to learn immediately. Don't put it off. Don't wait until after Christmas. Don't wait until oh well, we'll do it in the new year. Give yourself a Christmas gift now. You really do need to kind of take time to invest in yourself, time wise, and if it takes a bit of money to learn the skills or whatever that you need to, or buy the platform or product that you need to, don't put it off any longer. Why on earth would you want to carry on wallowing in the treacle when you could be on your journey towards being a superstar? So if you do want to go from the treacle to the superstar, what you need to be able to do is deliver a killer webinar presentation, and that is what I'm going to help you to do. So you need to be able to speak to the right people about the right topic You need to have that right level of poise and control on the right platform and with a killer presentation. And what this webinar is going to do is really, help you to start cracking a lot of these things. All right, so let's put webinars in context. Now, the great thing is what you're going to learn, you can use in other speaking situations. So you can speak in webinars, but obviously you can also speak on stage, in meetings, and through videos as well. And what I'm going to teach you, you will be able to transfer to some of these other places. Now, the skills that you're going to need, especially, in terms of webinars, you're going to need confidence. So you're going to need to know and feel comfortable with what you're doing. You need the right content. You need a certain level of charisma. And particularly when we're talking about webinars and videos, you need to really bring your voice to life. I've seen people who are fantastic on stage, but when it comes to webinars and videos, they lose something, because it is a different thing, and it's so important that you bring it to life. Your voice has to say it all, because you don't have the body language to look at instead. And then, of course, what you need to be doing is constantly evaluating and continuously improving. Nobody starts off with the perfect webinar. Oh my goodness, so many people out there who are doing really well now and making a complete mint through webinars. They will all tell you that their first webinar was very ropey indeed, me included. So it doesn't matter, but the important thing is you get started, because once you get started, you then make little improvements, you learn little lessons, you pick up confidence, and before you know it, you're starting to do really well. Obviously, at the heart of all this is selling. And as I've already said, it's about selling in a way that is comfortable, that is going to resonate with you, that it's going to feel authentic for you, and it's also going to resonate and feel authentic for your audience as well. And not all of these super hyper, methods work. Yes, they do work to a certain extent, which is why people do them, but it's not for everybody, So I'm going to teach you ways. And I'm going to teach you ways where you can either ramp it up if that's applicable to you and your audience, or where you can tone it down and still get some really good results in a way that feels comfortable for you as well. Alrighty, so I promised 12 reasons why you need to run webinars, and I'm not going to even wait for the webinar to give you these reasons. I'm going to give you those reasons here and now. First of all, it is without a shadow of a doubt, webinars are the fastest and easiest way to promote your business. You don't have to wait until you get a speaking engagement or a slot at a networking event or at somebody else's conference. You can actually be running a webinar this time next week. You can do it as fast as that. And it is easy. You can put the whole thing together. There's very little costs involved. You don't have to book a room, and you don't have to pay for a room and then worry about what happens if nobody shows up. I mean, crikey, if nobody shows up on your webinar, it still doesn't matter. You can record it anyway and put the replay out there. That's what makes it easy. It really is a fast and easy way to promote your business. Anybody who's running webinars are automatically seen as an authority status, so it helps you to build credibility, because not everybody's running webinars. Now, you might believe that, every man, Jack and his dog is running webinars. And in fact, it's true. If you wanted to, you could probably listen to a webinar every single night of the week and at weekends too. And in fact, sometimes, they run at the same time and you have to choose between them. But remember, that's because you are on the internet space, and it's one of those things that you're immersed in that world right now, so it seems like everybody's doing webinars, but trust me, they're not. And your clients are certainly not being exposed to all of those webinars. And certainly if you do it differently, and I'm going to show you how to do things differently, you can find your own space in all of that. I'm running a little program for some people who wanted to learn what I was doing. So I said, okay, I'll show you how to, take your business from being offline to online. And these people were all coaches and trainers. They'd never even heard of a webinar. They'd never heard of a Google Hangout. They'd never heard of an autoresponder. So don't take it that your client market has done webinars to death, because the chances are they probably haven't. And even if they have, you can still claim your space. Okay, so it really is, an area where you can stand out, build credibility, and claim authority status for yourself. And I'm going to show you how to do that. It certainly helps massively in the know, like, and trust factor. When I first started online, I was doing a lot of stuff on social media. I was doing, sending people to an opt-in page. I was posting like crazy. And it wasn't until I started running webinars that suddenly people started to sit up and take notice of what I was doing. Not that long ago, I did an interview via a webinar of sorts. It was via a Google Hangout, where the lovely Jo Barnes interviewed me. And people, and one of the comments that I got was, "Oh, Tina, how fabulous the interview was. I really felt I got to know you in a way that I hadn't got to know you through seeing your posts in the Facebook group." And it's so true. Yes, people can get to know you a certain extent through posting in groups and forums, and through traditional social media methods. But there is nothing like you being there in person, and which is why, as well as doing voiceover PowerPoint like this video I'm doing for you now, when I do webinars, I actually like to be seen on camera, because actually there is nothing like that for building up the opportunity for people to get to know you and get to like you and build trust. And that's when they buy. People need to know, like, and trust you before they'll buy from you. I've already said that webinars are a great way to, build and then grow your list. And my list grew from nothing to 50 in my first webinar. And then as I kept doing it, it kept growing. And, I did one webinar that grew 535 people immediately, just through one webinar being advertised through a joint venture partner. So it's an amazing way of building and growing your list. Then it can help you deepen relationship and the rapport with your list. So if you just have a list and then you just email them now and again, that's fine. But if you invite them to free content only webinars, then it's really going to help you to again, coming back to the know, like, and trust factor. So it helps deepen that relationship with the people who are on your list. Webinars are a great educational tool, so they can be free, which will attract people onto your list. But also, it's not just about the free webinars, which are all about selling. They are an amazing way of delivering your paid programs. And by running a webinar, or a series of webinars, you don't have to put an extra amount of work in just building a membership site program. You can just record a series of programs, put them together, as a paid program. It can be a great bonus to go with coaching programs. And it kind of leads into the next reason, which is it's good product creation. You can record your webinars and then turn that into a product. So it's great product creation as well. One thing is, there is nothing that works like a webinar as being a good vehicle for joint venture partners. Yes, you can get joint venture partners who will just email a link to your sales page, but actually it's way more effective to say to a joint venture partner, how about doing a joint webinar? Or, I'm doing this webinar, it's free, would you tell your followers about it, or share it on your social networks for me, please? It's so much easier to get joint venture partners on board through a webinar than it is through sending out a hyper email, sending them to a sales page. Obviously, one of the big reasons to run webinars is to promote your products and services, and this is where a lot of sales comes from. It is an incredible tool to help you to make sales, because what you can do is you can promote your products and services in a way which is friendly. You can explain what they're all about. You don't have to kind of be hyper and salesy, the same as one of these big, long, horrible sales letters. Yes, you've got to have a sales letter, and yes, they work. But somehow, when people have gone to a long sales letter from a webinar, it's 1,000 times more effective than if they just go to the sales page from, an opt-in of a freebie and that kind of thing. So, this is really important. Obviously, if you're into affiliate marketing, you can use webinars to promote other people's products and services. So it's not just all about your own stuff. And this is one of the things that I love about webinars, is that it's not just for people who've got their own products and services, but you can do a webinar all about somebody else's. I think I did a webinar some time back all about Webinar Express, because I'd bought it myself, thought it was great, thought it was a great alternative to using GoToWebinar. So I did a webinar all about Webinar Express. And then finally, once you've got people who've bought for you, what you can use webinars for is to then deepen that relationship with your customers. So they might have bought a self-study program or something like that, and then if you say, right, this webinar is only for my customers, it's not for the general public, that is going to make them feel special. It's going to deepen the relationship, which then leads into the final bit, which is providing you with the perfect platform for then upselling to a higher price program. Right? So there are all of these good reasons why you need to be running webinars. Okay, so I hope I'm convincing you here, and you need to be on the webinar that I'm going to be running so that I can tell you an awful lot more about it. Now, let me tell you my story, a little bit about me. I've been speaking now for a long time, and more recently I've stepped into the webinar diva space because I'm passionate about helping people. Now, here's the thing. I'm guessing that a lot of you are in a very similar position to me, in that you don't have a fortune to spend on a techie team, that you don't have the resources to get other people to do it for you. It's great for these people who say, yeah, just set it up with GoToWebinar, get my techie person to set it all up, outsource this, that and the other, fine. But not everybody can do that. And certainly when I was starting out, I couldn't do that either. I do some more outsourcing now than I used to. However, I'm still at the stage where, although now I've, had some really great success with webinars, and I've certainly increased my income from it, I still need to kind of, be a little bit, I would rather spend my money on further programs than I would just wasting it. And I'm sure the same is true for you too. I've got loads of bits of paper. Just suffice to say that I am a trained and qualified and experienced coach, trainer, NLP master practitioner, and all the rest of it. Whereas a lot of people just think, oh yeah, okay, I've done this and I'm just gonna, decide to be a trainer or a coach. If anybody wants to know what my qualifications are, I'm very happy to provide it, but I'm not going to bore you with it all now. Importantly, I am also a paid professional speaker. I have been paid to speak on stage. There are a lot of people who have got the bits of paper, who are perhaps qualified trainers, but they've never actually been paid to speak on stage, or they've not been doing webinars themselves. And vice versa, there are people who are professional speakers, but they've not been adequately trained to pass their knowledge on. Okay, so I have both sides of that experience. As a fan of continuous improvement, I have been a student of the best. Trust me, I've had the best mentors in the world. You know, I've worked with the best in the business, and I've worked with a variety of them, not just one person. So I've got loads of tips and strategies and tools that I've spent probably in the last year something like £15,000 on mentoring programs and learning. And that knowledge, as well as the experience and the personal things that I've learned and found out, I can pass on to my students. So I can quite safely say I've been there, done it, and got the t-shirt. You know, I've been totally broke. I've been in the situation where I can't afford to spend a lot of money on programs. I've been in the situation where I've been frustrated having to do all the technology because I can't afford, you know, the program that teaches me how to do it, and I can't afford to outsource it to somebody else. And I'm really happy to say that by following what I've learned from my mentors, you know, I've turned it around, you know, and I'll show you in a minute, you know, some of the proof of that. I've now developed my 5-star speaker system, my little animated star here, which I'm absolutely loving. A little bit about me personally, so you know who I am and you can connect with me. I live in the very wonderful seaside town of Plymouth, down in the southwest of England, and I absolutely adore it because, I mean, heck, the view that you've got is just so amazing, and I'm lucky enough to live in, you know, literally about a minute's walking distance, and I really connect with the sea. My passion is salsa dancing. You know, I'm a person as well, and I have a life outside of internet marketing and teaching others. And I think that's really important. That's what I do to have fun, unwind, and, you know, recharge my batteries. And I have a dream. My dream is to move to Gibraltar, where I can have the beauty of the sea but with a bit more of the sunshine lifestyle, and yet still be in an English speaking environment and be able to buy fresh milk from Morrison's and Marks and Spencer's. So, you know, that's a little bit about me and my dreams and my aspirations. And if you can connect with that, as a, you know, what I want to do is show you that I'm a real person. I'm not the finished article. I'm still a work in progress, but I've learned from the best. I'm implementing what I've learned, and I am getting success from that. And on that, I just want to show you that, you know, this is my most successful webinar that I've run, which was back in May. I have had successful webinars since, but this was just blew me away, and it was my first ever multiple sale webinar. And previously I'd done webinars where I was selling, you know, a program at $47, or, you know, 2 programs at $37. I actually sold 4 programs at $7, and, you know, I was banging my head against a brick wall thinking, oh crikey, I'm doing this, I'm running webinars, but I'm not getting there. What am I doing wrong? And there was a lot that I was doing wrong, which, you know, I'm going to be able to share, you know, some of this with you on the webinar on Thursday evening. But by applying what I'd learned, suddenly I went to having all of these payments coming into my PayPal account all in one go. It was just astonishing for me, you know, and I can't tell you how it made me feel. And I thought, at last, people are getting me. And if I hadn't done this through this webinar, and if I hadn't learned what I'd learned from my mentors, this wouldn't have happened. And this is what I want to share with you, and this is what I want for you. And then I went on from this to do my higher coaching program, where I contacted people, gave them, you know, a free session. And again, that free session, I never do the hard sell, please believe me, you know, because I will offer, you know, free strategy sessions, but it's, you know, it's like, you know, 95% all content and strategy, and then, you know, well, would you like to work a bit further with me? And then people said yes, you know, it's brilliant. So, you know, and from all that, I made £10,500 or $16,000 in 1 month off the back of this one webinar, and that is what I want for you. So what we're going to be covering, as I said, is I've already told you the 12 reasons why you need webinars. I'm going to be showing you that it's as easy as ABC. giving you those traffic tactics, giving you the platform reviews, and so you're not just stuck with GoToWebinar, and then there are others that you can choose from. I'm going to be going through the mistakes to avoid, giving you the #1 key insight that's going to help you to sell, give you the ways to keep your audience with you, give you different ways to monetize your webinars. And then, as I say, I will only spend 5 minutes telling you how I can help you further. And then I'm going to take your questions and answers. And then at the end, I'm going to give you a guide, which is a planning template to help make your webinar planning easier. And that is it. That is why I want you to actually show up live to this webinar on Thursday. And now that I've told you all of that, now through this video, you don't have to listen to it on the webinar itself. We can crack straight into the content. I will probably do a very, very quick, brief recap, which will, I promise, take no longer than 5 minutes. So you're going to get a really fabulous chock-a-block content, action-filled, inspiring webinar, and I really look forward to seeing you there. So thanks for registering, thanks for watching this video, and I can't wait to share this stuff with you on the webinar itself. So I'll see you there.